guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my favorite historical romances I've read so far this year. I have not read a ton, but I think I've read more than last year, so I am slowly getting back into the groove of historical romances, and I have 6 to share with you that have been my favorite of the year. They are both 5 and 4-star reads, and I just really enjoyed them, especially this last month and a half, really. I've read a lot that I've enjoyed, so I will get to my recommendations. I definitely think that Bridgerton Season 3 has put me in the mood more so for historicals, so definitely leave your favorites down below. Definitely need to get back into older historicals and like beloved authors that I haven't finished their backlist of, because most of these are either favorite authors or they're old school. So I need to stick to those, and I will go ahead and get to them. The first one, you can depend on this author for just like a really easy read, but that's also really entertaining, and that's Julie Garwood. I feel like I fly through her books, and this one was so much fun. This is The Gift, and this one, the heroine and the hero marry, and I remember the prologue. You don't know how old she is until the end of the prologue, and you're like, wait, what? So that was fun, and then he leaves and she never sees him, and so now she's trying to escape with her either aunt or grandma. There's a relation that they're trying to like put away in like a home, like an asylum, so that they can take her money, and she wants to escape with her, and she decides to sneak out of the house, and her husband has finally come for her, and she meets him, and she's like, my husband is gonna come and protect me, like you better not do anything to me, and he's just like laughing because he's like, lady, I'm your husband, and it's so funny. And then it's basically them on a ship and going places, and her aunt grandma person has her own romance, which was super cute, and this was just such a fun time. I really enjoy this, and there's like all these hijinks with the crew where she just keeps on messing things up, and they think she's cursed and they're terrified of her, and it's just so fun. Like, Julie Garwood writes the best banter, she writes the best characters, and it's never a dull moment in her books, so if you really love her, you have to check out The Gift. Okay, so this next one, I don't know if I love. It was such a weird reading experience. I actually did a reading vlog reading this, and I have been recommended this by a lot of authors, so whenever I do like an author interview, I always ask like, what have you read that's inspired you, and a lot of them have read historical romances, and a lot of them recommend this book. It is To Have and to Hold by Patricia Gaffney. This is so interesting. So first off, like, I'm obsessed with this. The heroine is in prison, and she has been in prison for a while, and the hero decides to buy her whatever, her sentence, so that she works for him. And so she's working in his household, and he basically is like, I like you, I'm gonna take you. And I'm like, I really don't like that. I almost DNF'd this, because there was a scene where his friends came over and they were going to do stuff to her, and he puts a stop to it though, and then the story goes on from there. And the hero's so hard to like. The hero is so unlikable in this book, but it becomes so interesting. And that's really all I want to say about this book, because the heroine, she is helpless in so many situations because the justice system is horrible, and she is like at mercy to everybody else and has no control. And so you see her fall in love with him, and you're not rooting for their romance, but it's so interesting to read. So while I almost DNF'd this because I was like, I absolutely hate this book, I'm really happy that I stuck it out and read the entire thing. Did I like it? I still don't know. I still don't know if I liked it. I did not like the romance, but it's such an interesting read that makes you think so much. So it's on my favorites because like I will never forget this reading experience, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Then I have The Duke Gets Desperate by Diana Quincy. I always have a Diana Quincy book on this list because she has the best historical romances. This one, our heroine has inherited an estate. I don't know if it's like a castle, but she's inherited an estate. She shows up, and the hero is like, no, I'm the rightful heir to this estate. It's her cousin who is like his stepmom, I think, and so she passed away and she ends up inheriting it, and he's like, no, I get this, like, you don't get my estate. So now they're living together, and they're trying to figure out like how to deal with this, and she really wants to turn the estate around because it is like crumbling, and like they're losing money, and she's trying to have all these ideas because she actually runs her family's business, so she's very intelligent, and she has all these business ideas, and the hero's like, whatever, like, sure, thinking that he's just gonna like get her to leave at some point and take over this estate. And so they end up falling in love, and I just thought this was so fun. I love her heroines because they're always very strong and definitely making a place in a world that's male dominated and where women don't have a lot of say or a lot of opportunity. And I I just had a lot of fun listening to this audiobook, so highly recommend checking out Diana Quincy's new one, and I'm eagerly waiting to see what else she's going to come out with. Then we have another favorite author who appears on every list every year for me, and that is Lorraine Heath. This book is probably my #1 of the year. This is a second chance romance. Hero and heroine were betrothed before. He leaves her at the altar. So she is devastated, she's embarrassed, so she goes on this like grand tour and comes back and writes a very scandalous book thing, and it's like out in installments, I think, and so it's very scandalous. It's about like the sex life of someone, and everyone knows it's about Lord K, and they're like, it's you, Lord Knightley, like this book's about you. He's the only person who knows the author because it's about him, and he knows who he was sleeping around with, and so he confronts her and he's like, what's happening? And they are reacquainted and have to understand what happened in the past and the secrets that they're both hiding. It was so good. It is such a angsty second chance romance. I loved it. I literally gasped when one of the secrets were revealed. It was so good. So please read this. I love Lorraine Heath so much. Then I have the last two I've talked about in a couple recent videos, so I'm saving them for the end, but we have Worth Any Price by Lisa Kleypas, Marriage of Convenience, Bow Street Runner series. Definitely read the first two before you get to this one. You don't have to, but I do think it's more fun that way because we do see characters from the previous books, because he is the brother of Lady Sophia from book 2. I think it was book 2. And this one is Marriage of Convenience. He is tasked to track her down for her betrothed, and she is running away from him because he's horrible, but she was raised to betroth him. Like, she's been raised and groomed to be his wife, and he is disgusting, and so she runs away and is hiding out on this estate working for the like sister of the person who owns the estate, and he shows up and they definitely flirt a lot. There's a very scandalous party happening, and then she learns he's there to take her away, and she's like, absolutely not. How did I even like think about liking you? And then he's like, well, you can marry me and I'll protect you. So she marries him, and it is so good. This one's also angsty. I just love Lisa Kleypas, and this made me remember how much I love her. I have to get more to the Ravenel series because I know people love that series, and I've only read I think the last 4 of those, and I never went back to the beginning. So there's definitely some Lisa Kleypas I have to get to, and I'm very excited to. And my last favorite historical of the year so far is this one. I've talked about it nonstop. It's His Forbidden Touch by Shelley Thacker. I love Shelley Thacker, and I'm really excited that I've collected more of her books. She writes very adventurous and easy to get into historicals. I know it can be intimidating reading old school historicals, but the writing style is not hard to understand, and the storytelling is just so fun. The heroine, it's in the beginning, drops you into the action of her estate being attacked and they lose, and so this other kingdom has taken over, and she has to now marry their king, and her brother's best friend, her brother is actually murdered during this attack, and her brother's best friend is asked by her father to transport her to her betrothed, and he has been banished for the past 4 years for betraying her father, and so he is just like very angry with the world and angry at himself, and he is taking her. It's only one horse, and I love that trope so much in historicals, and they have to pretend to be married at some point to be able to stay in an inn, and they're on the run. People are trying to kidnap her, so he has to protect her from all these people on his way to take her to marry someone she doesn't want to marry because he's responsible for her brother's death. So it's very, very good. So much action adventure. I loved it, and it's forbidden because she's betrothed and, you know, his dead best friend's sister. It is so good. And those are my favorite historical romances so far this year. Please let me know your favorites, what I have to read. I would love to hear it because I definitely want to read more and prioritize reading more throughout the year. I always read at least 1 a month through my book club, but I want to try to read at least like 3 or 4 a month just because I love the genre so much and want to get back into it. But that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.